because they cannot differentiate between Yahuwah's laws and man's additions to those laws. And so a spirit of confusion sets in. Chris, quickly do a sound check for me. And so we want some answers. Now, coming from a Jewish background is also very difficult to separate fact from fiction. Very, very difficult. Because even within the Jewish celebration of Pesach, you can put on the lights on top. Even within the Jewish celebration of Pesach, there are, yeah, put on more. There you go. More. One more. No, you missed it. 1, 2. Come on.
Very delicate.
It's delicate. You got, listen, pull 4 times harder. 2, 3. No, you missed it.
That's all right. Just wait. That's, no, I got it.
The 4th time has to be very gentle.
Very gentle.
So, even within Jewish tradition, it's hard to separate fact from fiction. So today we're going to try to help you and our friends around the world to celebrate fact from fiction. Because there are so many ideas of what is Chametz. Now, what is Bidikat Chametz?
Search for leaven.
Bidikat Chametz is the search for leaven. Busca por Chametz. Okay? But there are so many opinions about what is and what is not Chametz. It depends whose website you visit. It depends whose list you're reading. And it depends who has a personal thing about a product that they have come to, or 2 products, that they have come to the conclusion is Chametz. So there may be someone out there who says, this is Chametz. Someone else might say, no, we disagree. That's not Chametz. And then someone else says, well, I know what Chametz is. Here's a problem. The Jews have been doing this a lot longer than you have. You're returning from the house of Ephraim, from the house of Yosef. They've been doing it a lot longer. Are you with me? And even the Jewish people don't know what Chametz is, unless the rabbi tell them what it is. Problem is, a lot of the rabbinical products that are bought for Pesach, it says right on the cake and the cookies.
Baking soda.
It says right on there. It says baking soda. Baking soda is a leavening agent. It is one of the things I have always been trained to take out of the house. Then last year we were introduced to a teaching which technically is correct. Technically. And Brother Yehoshua, Warren Smith, Jr., taught us that Chametz is not really an item, it's a process. So that baking soda or yeast or anything is not leaven. Leaven is the result or the product that undergoes a process. The same bread, if you leave it alone and give it time to rise, will become chametz. But the same bread, if it's flat and has no time to rise, like our ancestors left Mitzrayim in a hurry, that is not chametz. So therefore the bread has innate within it leavening agents, but what determines if it's chametz is the process, yay, or the process, no. So we're grateful to Yehoshua, to Warren Smith, Jr., for teaching us that. So we are thankful for a lot of the good teaching that's out there, but we're also confused by a lot of the teaching that is confusing. It could be good teaching. It could be not good teaching, but it's still confusing. So to start this message, let us understand there is first, do the sound check? No. There is Jewish confusion, There is Ephraimite confusion. There is Spanish confusion among the Spanish community. There is Anglo confusion. There is black confusion. You like the way I said that? Black. African American confusion. Even Confucius gets confused when it comes to what is and what is not Chametz. So, but in light of some of the things that we have learned, some of these opinions are mixed with truth, some truth, and error. So it's very difficult to wade our way through what is truth and what is error. It's very difficult. And it's difficult for the rabbis of the house of Yehudah. How much more difficult for those of returning Ephraim. So here's where we went personally. Rivka and I, in our B'dichat Chametz, and you should be involved with B'dichat Chametz, don't wait till Pesach next Yom Shishi around the world and here, get your homes clean now. Now's the time to get your homes clean in preparation for Pesach. Don't wait till Yom Chamishi, which is next Roman Friday, and try to do it quick, because you're going to miss some things. So the rabbis don't agree. The Ephraimites don't agree. But Rivka and I used to go by the rabbis until we find out that it was a business. That the stuff we were throwing out, like rice and noodles, that needed water to rise, had no chametz, no leavening agents. On the other hand, the stuff the rabbis were selling us for $5.99 or $8.99 a slice was filled with chametz. But then to compound that fact, we get new understanding. And I believe Yehoshua was onto something. Some of you may receive those teachings. And he's our brother, and he was onto something. So do we now leave everything in our closets and just make sure that they don't undergo the process? Well, if that's true, if leavening is a process, then the fermented wine on our tables is not kosher for Passover. Yet it says that the wine is kosher for Passover. If you buy the wine in the supermarkets, and one of the things you'll see on the label, kosher for Passover. Okay. So, if leavening is a process, then the wine that we have been drinking for Manischewitz for many, many years technically has gone through that process. Do we now revert to grape juice? And if we revert to grape juice, what do we do? Because according to the Torah, we are not to consume fruit that has been modified or fruit that has no seed in the fruit. Now we don't know if this wine, even if the grape juice, which is not fermented, okay, and we get away from the wine, and more questions. There are more questions out there. So if we go back to the grape juice, well, question is, did the manufacturer use grapes with seeds? Or did he modify the grapes and make the wine without seeds? Okay, are you confused yet?
Nope.
Well, you should be. Because I'm confused. And that's exactly where the enemy wants you. And that's exactly where the enemy wants you. Confused, don't know if you're coming or going, and say, well, it was a lot easier to take communion. Aha! And that's the purpose of the whole point. To drive you back to the church, to drive you back to religion, and to drive you back to simplicity that you and I used to get on Sunday, Domingo, in an iglesia. Fácil. Pan, vino, fácil. We understood completely. It was very simple. Take the bread, take the wine, go to the rectory, do your thing, and go home.
Leave that alone.
Exactly. Go home. But now that we want to obey the Torah, it seems like instead of clarity, or in the place of clarity, we're getting confusion.